want all the smoke, we want all the action. If you're grinding for the paper, don't forget your passion. If you're driving, pull it over, that can lead to crashing. DJ Demise is on the mix, and that can lead to dancing. Go ahead, shake it, girl, everybody clapping. Damn, do it for the gram, I ain't even capping. If you grind till you shine, you can make it happen. Uncle Marv, Marty Marv, keep it old fashioned.
The Keeping It Old Fashioned Show.
This is your boy, Uncle Marv.
And your boy, Marty Marr.
And we're pleased to have State Senator Shevrin Jones in the house, folks.
Yeah.
Hey.
Thank you for coming.
And we got a great show coming up. We're going to be doing threes as always. We're going to find out not only what's making Marty mad, but what's making State Senator Shevrin Jones mad also, bruh. We're going to be talking a little bit about current events. And more importantly, we get to find out a lot of things about the state senator here. But there's one thing we want to start off with the intro asking him about for a couple of seconds. You just came back from Israel, bro.
I did.
How was it?
Let me tell you, when I landed back into town, I wanted to go back. I could not talk about it enough about the history of Israel, and I do know that there is some controversy from people when you speak of Israel, but I will say that I want people to educate themselves.
Absolutely. So I was in the Marine Corps. I went in like 87, and I got to pass through there, just for like a couple of days. I got a chance. Did you get a chance to eat?
I did.
Oh, I'm a chef, so the falafel. I wasn't in the lamb and goat too much, but after I came back from Jerusalem, I was on it.
You was on it?
I was on it.
So listen, I'm not a big fried food person, but I'll tell you, the falafel was amazing. We had hummus every day. I don't want to see hummus for...
Oh, man, I can eat hummus the rest of my life. I love hummus.
We had hummus every single day, but let me tell you what was really good, the fish.
Oh, absolutely.
The fish is to die for.
Oh, absolutely. I'm sorry that I didn't eat it because back then I was 17 on Marines.
Okay.
And I was a crab fan from being from Baltimore.
Of course
but they have something in Baltimore called Lake Trout. Nowadays it's whiting because original Lake Trout it went extinct. But they put it between bread. The bone's still in it. So I'm 4 years old. I bite in it. It put me off with fish until I became a chef.
Okay.
So I missed my opportunity. And now if I ever get a chance to go back to Israel,
you gotta get the fish.
I'm going to, one of our partners, David Sussman, he's Jewish, but he hasn't been to Israel. And I get on him. And I told him, I said, when I see State Senator Jones, I'm going to have him shame you. So, next time he goes to Israel, I'm going to ask him, let me know, and I'm going to get Mr. David Sussman a ticket.
Sorry, Dave.
So he can get some falafel in his life.
You got to, man.
Right. Normally we start threes with Marty Marr, but Marty, you feel like passing that rock to the senator?
Of course, Senator.
All right.
Of course.
What we do with threes, sir.
Okay.
Anything you watch, and you pick 3 items, all right? Something you're listening to, music, something like a movie, streaming, anything you watch, and if you read books, you went to an art museum or something, 3 things.
All right. I'm listening to Renaissance right now, Beyonce's new album.
Oh,
okay.
That is my new
Queen Bee.
my gym jam. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. Book I'm reading right now is Democracy in Chains.
Okay.
I think it's a very good book. I suggest anyone.
Who's the author? Do you know?
Oh God.
Don't worry, we'll look it up.
Democracy in Chains. You got it.
All right.
What's my next thing?
Well, anything you want.
Perfect.
3
so
things.
The last thing is, you know what? I have just started a new plan to where I'm taking with my trainer and I will have eliminated carbs and high protein, high vegetable diet plan right now.
Well, you know what? Good. I'm glad you said that.
Oh wow!
Because my man Marty Marr. Now I was mad with Marty Marr because he wound up going to see his sorry soccer team, Chelsea. Everybody knows Barcelona's the best.
We lost 4-0.
Come off the wagon.
Not too bad.
But the good news was he didn't gain weight.
Okay.
It was 254 the week before.
Yeah.
He was 254 when he came back from
Orlando.
So, and how did you manage that again, Martin?
Portion control. I think is the most important thing.
That's
you don't have to always finish your plate. You know?
Right.
All right. So this week, Last week, 254.6. This week, 249.6.
Hey.
So the fellas is losing.
They losing.
So I'm glad you got that.
Yeah.
Your threes, that we got to work that in.
Yeah,
We were going
man.
to talk about another segment,
Yeah.
but that made it well to fit it
Yeah.
in now.
Yeah, man.
So, Marty Marv, what's your threes this week, baby?
All right, well, I did a lot of TV watching. So the first one thing that I watched was actually a documentary, The Inventor, Out for Blood in Silicon Valley. You know the story of Elizabeth Holmes,
Yeah.
the CEO of Theranos.
Yeah.
You know how she promised to change the world with a finger prick of blood instead of
Yeah.
having to take a whole vial.
Yeah.
Fascinating. I mean, I honestly thought that she tried to do good, and in the end, you know, one lie turned to another and
Yeah.
another.
What's the name of it?
It's called The Inventor, Out for Blood in Silicon Valley.
I like it.
It's incredible.
Okay.
The second one, because I'm a huge fan of The Wire, is The Corner.
Okay.
The Corner is like the prelude to The Wire, so I watched it for the first time. I mean, I absolutely love it. I think I'm spending more time in Baltimore than Marvin here because I've watched The Wire so
And
many
Marty
times.
Marv, let me tell you something about that corner. 3 of my cousins and 2 of my neighbors actually acted in that.
Really?
The directors, they went and got some of the neighborhood people to make it authentic.
It's fantastic.
Like 4 of the scenes,
Yeah.
4 of my old houses are in that, like I grew up in.
Yeah.
Because I grew up super poor. I mean, you
West
know,
Baltimore,
in Baltimore,
man.
yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was a struggle, worked my way out, but lots of people, Jada Pinkett, Parker Posey,
Yeah.
lots of people, Pac, a lot of people didn't know it. Tupac was raised in Baltimore.
Oh, I
He
didn't
was
know
born
that.
in New
I didn't know
York.
that. Yeah.
He lived in Baltimore from the time he was 3
Mhm.
up until he was a young man.
Okay.
So you know, and you know that's how he knew Jada Pinkett. That's why he was so tight.
Okay.
You know, a lot of people don't know that. You gotta be from B more to know
B
that.
more.
But continue with your 3,
All
sir.
right,
Here we go.
So my last one is a little bit of a like a guilty pleasure. My girlfriend works a lot, so sometimes when she comes home, she doesn't want to watch like a documentary, something she has to focus too much on. So we watched something called Married at First Sight on Netflix. You know, where they literally take these couples that have never even seen each other and they get married on first sight. I thought it was gonna be cheesy, but it's actually funny. And you know what? I had to watch what the girl wanted to watch one time. You know, keep her happy. You know, happy wife, happy life.
Yeah.
So.
Well, all right. Let me break
What
it
about
down.
what about
my
you?
threes.
Yeah.
I like sci-fi. You know this
Oh,
about
me too.
Okay.
Me too.
On Netflix,
Yeah.
one of my, and I'm a comic book fan.
Okay.
That's why you get them in your baller box.
Yeah.
Baller, you know. If those of you wondering what baller box is, Uncle Marv's Old Fashioned Beef Bacon, go to the website, get yourself a baller box and get free comic books. But anyway,
Shameless plug.
there's a show called Paper Girls.
Okay.
From a
Yeah.
graphic novel. It's like Stranger Things,
Yeah.
but with like some teenage, like 12-year-old girls.
Yeah.
And it's extremely good. I suggest if you want to watch something, you like that futuristic stuff, very good to see.
Okay.
The next thing you want to see, also on Netflix that I'm watching right now. I don't think it's with Netflix. It's on one of those streaming services. I think it's actually HBO Max, but it's P-Valley.
P-Valley.
I didn't want to like. I'm not about them shows. Like I didn't watch Power, but some of my kids are in love with that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And you know, our shipping partner AJ.
Yeah, yeah.
He's into shows like that. So
Okay.
I thought I'd give it a try, and I'm ashamed to say, I'm kind of stuck on the drama.
Oh.
Kind of stuck on it. You know what I mean?
P-Valley.
P-Valley.
I'm about to check that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but look, it's not for the faint of heart.
I was about to say,
It's what we call in the hood, sir, ratchet.
It's
You know what I'm
ratchet?
saying? It's ratchet.
I'm okay with
You know what I mean?
ratchet.
All right, always
Why
okay,
not?
all right.
Uncle Marv's fault.
Is it
Why
more
not?
ratchet than like Real Housewives of Atlanta?
Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
Dang.
Because it's not reality.
Okay.
It's drama.
It's
so
drama.
Yes.
Drama.
So, you know, and the last thing, I'm going to go with one of the songs that, you know, like I usually don't like the new generation's music. That's why we go old school. But Kimbo Slice by Rex Life Raj.
Okay.
That is tight.
What's the name of it?
Kimbo Slice. It's named after the old street fighter
Yeah,
down
I
here
remember.
from Miami
Yeah.
that passed
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's threes, folks.
Okay.
So keep it locked into the Keeping It Old Fashioned show right here.
The Keeping It Old Fashioned Show presents What Makes Marty Mad?
I'm really mad, bro.
All right. Now, Marty, we got a special What Makes Marty Mad, because after you go, we're going to find out what makes State Senator Shevrin Jones mad also. What makes you mad, baby boy?
Okay, so listen up. So my father and mother came to this country from Peru. And I was blessed and very lucky to be born in Los Angeles, California. And as a first-generation American, I saw how much my parents loved this country and all the opportunities it gave our family, and I couldn't wait to turn 18 and exercise my constitutional right to vote. Now, what makes me mad is that many Americans that are eligible to vote do not. I mean, if you look back at the struggle that the great people before us had to endure to give us this beautiful right, and how it wasn't really that long ago when minorities and women were not allowed to vote. The timeline is very long, but some important dates are February 3rd, 1870, black men granted the right to vote. The 15th Amendment is ratified, granting black men the right to vote and Congress the power to enforce the right. However, laws including poll taxes, literacy tests, and grandfather clauses are enacted in most of these southern states, suppressing black voting rights until 1965. August 18, 1920, women get the right to vote. After decades of protests and struggles for change, the 19th Amendment is adopted, granting American women the right to vote. June 2nd, 1924, Native Americans granted the right to vote. And finally, July 1st, 1971, 18 and up can vote. Now, what is unbelievably sad, approximately 240 million people were eligible to vote in the 2020 presidential election, and roughly 66.1% of them submitted ballots, totaling only about 158 million. And this was a record-setting year. Now, what is even sadder is how many people voted in the last municipal elections, which are local elections, which can honestly affect your life a lot more than the presidential election. In Miami-Dade, for example, of the 408,310 people who were registered to vote in the last municipal elections, only 17,711 people cast ballots, which amounts to a little over 17.5% of the eligible population. In conclusion, if you live in a country where you have this amazing right that many people struggled for, and men and women like my partner, Uncle Marv, a Marine who fought for this country and put his life on the line to protect our way of life, you have an absolute and undeniable duty to vote. Period. I don't care if you will vote with me or against me, but just vote.
Marty, that's a good thing to be mad about, but I'm going to tell you something that's going to blow your mind right now.
Tell me.
Remember how former, President Trump was sitting there talking about, oh, I got the most votes ever, right? Now, that more people had voted that election than ever before, but yet Biden still beat him.
Yeah.
But yet most people still didn't vote.
Yeah, that's the sad part.
Right?
66.1%.
So you gotta look at Miami Beach. What was the numbers on Miami Beach, man?
Miami Beach, out of like 80,000 residents, only like 16 or 17,000 people voted.
Wow.
It's sad.
So, State Senator Shevrin Jones, I know this gotta have your blood boiling.
Oh yeah.
I mean, this is like what you do,
Yeah.
And I know you're not doing this to get paid. I see you in the community.
Right.
I see how you move.
Right.
How you feel about this?
Well, I think it's two sides, right? One is unfortunate that people are not voting, but I also think that we have to give people something to vote for.
Absolutely, 100.
Well, I think people are upset. I think people are frustrated with politicians and the government. And I can't go to you and ask you to vote when your living conditions are not something that you're going to vote for, or for an individual going to vote for. It's not matching up. And so you can't encourage anyone to do it if you're not giving them something out on a way out of the poverty that they're living in, or a way out of the life that they're living right now. And so you have to give people the hope. It's a hope factor that we're dealing with right now. And we have to put that back in the hearts of people. Is that an excuse for people not to vote? It's not.
Yeah.
But is it a reason that should put a fire under all of us to engage them? Absolutely, yes.
All right. That's one
Very well
thing,
said.
maybe, I don't know if you know or not. I've been curious about it, right? They got this new law in Florida, like, if you play your music too loud, they pull you over.
Yeah.
But what I noticed, it's selective.
It's selective.
And when I mean it's selective, I mean it's selective. And a lot of people I know,
Yeah.
like even, myself when I was young, I was a Marine, got out Marines.
Yeah.
Police antagonize you.
Absolutely.
I mean, Baltimore is one of the most corrupt police departments in the nation.
Absolutely.
And once you get out the game, they want to take your rights to vote.
Yeah.
And it's just the whole way that the jail system is set up. Also,
Yeah.
it's really hard because when they do the census, they count the folks in prisons, and all the prisons are built in rural communities where the whole community revolves. The prison guards work there. The Walmart services the people that work at the prison. And they get good schools and everything because they count the prisoners as people. But then when they come back to Miami-Dade, they come back to Broward, it's not enough funds.
That's right.
Is that an accurate statement? Because that's what it seems like to me.
Yeah, it's accurate. But and the problem is that you include them in the census, but you include prisoners in the census. But what you don't do is you don't allow them to vote. In Israel, they allow the prisoners to vote.
What? Shut the front door!
They allow prisoners to vote in Israel.
That's one more reason for me to switch my religion to Judaism. Fish, hummus, and they got more voting rights than what I have right now. And it's not fair.
Absolutely. And listen, it's the right thing. I mean, those individuals, just because they make a mistake doesn't preclude them from being able to follow along what's happening.
Completely agree.
100%, because we all mature at different levels, and you
100%.
never know a person's circumstance.
Absolutely.
So let me ask you this. We got like a couple of minutes.
That's right.
Is anything that makes you mad?
Absolutely. So right now, after COVID, many people did not recover financially from COVID.
Yeah.
And so we're seeing this housing crisis that we're dealing with in Florida. Nationally, also, Florida has just become Miami particularly has just become the most expensive place to live in the country.
Yes, it has.
And so you have people rent that's jumping up almost 161%. And so people can't survive. People can't afford to live here. So you got people moving in with family members. You got 6 and 7 people living in houses. But yet and still, we have a Republican legislature that refuses to do anything when it comes to the housing crisis that we're dealing with. We call a special session for everything else. We dealt with a culture war for 60 days during the legislative session. Not one time that we paused to say that we need to pause and deal with the rent crisis or the insurance crisis that we're dealing with. That's not a Democrat-Republican issue, because I can guarantee you that if any Republican walk outside their back door, come out of their gated communities, they'll see that even their constituents are the main ones who are saying that we need to do something about the living conditions.
Oh man, that makes me angry too. How about you?
Absolutely.
Got your blood boiling.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing that with us. All right, my man Marty Mar. The people love the Marta facts, and what facts do you have for us today?
Okay. So today, my first one is, did you know that bad and messy handwriting is a sign of high intelligence? Meaning your pen cannot keep up with your brain. So don't feel bad if you have sloppy handwriting.
Look at this, folks.
Great.
Sloppy handwriting.
That explains it.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Hieroglyphics it looks like. My second one is, did you know people who spend most of their time on Facebook are at higher risk of suffering from depression? This is according to a study by Singapore's Nanyang Technological University, which also found the more people use Facebook, the higher the levels of envy, which leads to feeling of depression, because they believe that their family and friends are living this glorious life, which most of the time they are not. So it leads to depression.
Marty, they call it our day fakers. You know what I mean? Perpetrating a fraud. Whatever euphemisms you got for it. What else you got for us, baby?
All right, the last one is, did you know that the femur, aka the thigh bone, is stronger than steel and concrete? The femur, the longest and strongest bone in the human body, is quite hard to break unless your bone has been weakened, most commonly the result of osteoporosis, medication, side effects of cancer. It takes quite a lot of force to sustain a femur fracture. It is ounce for ounce stronger than steel.
Absolutely.
Wow. Yeah.
That is a great fact. You know, when you're in the Marines, you get kicked in your legs a lot.
Oh, man.
You know, I got to tell you, it never broke, but I had a lot of bruises on mine. My thighs.
Can't afford to break none now.
Got some stories.
Marty, thank you so much for those Marta facts. And look, just so you know, State Senator Shevrin Jones, if you go to Urban Dictionary, Marta facts is in there.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Tell them the story, Marty.
You gotta tell me about
You
it.
know, I read a lot. You know, I watch a lot of documentaries. I just love like fun facts, and so they started, making fun of me, calling it a Martifact because my name is Marty, so they call it a Martifact. So my friend actually put the word into UrbanDictionary.com with like a little definition. It took them 6 months, but they approved it. It is actually a word now in the Urban Dictionary.
Okay.
Yeah, congratulations.
There you
Marv.
go. Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, kind sir, for those wonderful artifacts. It's about that time we get to ask some questions that the people want to know. Now, are you ready, sir?
Let's go. Let's do it.
All right. Now, I'm going to start with the first question, if you don't mind, Marty Marv.
Please.
Okay. You were born and raised in Miami Gardens, not far from here, which the census says is currently 67% black and thus has the largest percentage of blacks out of any city in Florida. Can you share some of your thoughts and memories of growing up in a city that often gets, in my estimation, unfairly stigmatized as being crime-ridden or a bad neighborhood? Remember, I'm from Baltimore.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Well, first of all, I am proud to have been raised in Carroll City, now known as Miami Gardens.
Yeah.
That's right.
Carroll City.
Right.
So listen. So here's what I will say. Miami Gardens is the largest black district in the state of Florida, the third largest black district in the country.
Oh.
Do we have challenges? Yes, we have challenges. But I will also put out there that Miami Gardens is also the most thriving city that's here within the state of Florida, or South Florida, particularly proper. And so, we're no different than any other city that's having issues, that's having challenges when it comes to whether it's crime. But I will tell you that they have a council that is committed to dealing with the crime that's happening in the city. It is not as bad as it was a few years ago because of the police presence that they have put on the ground to create a better community police relationship that I believe works in communities. And so, listen, do we have our challenges? We do. But are we thriving? Yes, we are.
Well, I got one follow-up question on that.
Sure.
On that thing. See, being from Baltimore, I raised kids down here in Florida.
Yeah.
But my the way I grew up was different.
Yeah.
What I wonder is if there's a way that they can start putting more money into recreation.
Yep.
Right? Because everybody wants to tell you, go to school, get an education so you can go get a good job. No. You need to, everybody has different talents.
Right.
No one's stupid,
Yeah.
right? If there's more programs where kids can learn to use their, I'm a chef,
Yeah.
right? People can learn to use their hands, wood shop. Bring certain life skills back.
Oh, yeah.
It'll also help with the crime.
100%.
100%.
I mean,
I like that.
most of the crime in young people happen between the hour of 3 and 11 o'clock.
Right.
And during that time frame, should we be doing more to put more opportunities out for young people to have? Yes, we should. Right now, young people are home because there are not enough opportunities out during this summertime. And so, of course, we know because our parents told us that way, an idle mind is the devil's playground. And so that's what we're seeing. We're seeing a lot of young people who are just on the street who have nothing to do. So we do need to not just work along with the cities, but work along with the state and the federal government and private businesses also to create these opportunities. I don't believe in just giving all of these this programming, quote unquote, to government and saying government fund this. I think that everyone has to put skin in the game if we want to change it.
Absolutely,
That means
100%.
the business community. That means private businesses. That also means philanthropists. Put skin in the game for the work that's happening, so we all can see the change and we all can measure that change and what it looks like.
Thank you so much, sir.
Absolutely.
Marty, what question did you have for the Honorable Senator, sir?
Okay, you talked a little bit about the young people. You worked as a teacher in Florida public schools. Like, what other issues do you see that face the youth today? Like, I'll be honest with you, I had a huge problem with bullying in my school. I went to Miramar High School. I know bullying is a big issue. I mean, what issues do you see that the youth face today?
Them having an interest in education. I think nationally what we are seeing is this convoluted approach of public education because you have a system that's trying to be created to confuse our education system with things like parentalizing education, or we colloquially call it don't say gay, or trying to limit the teaching of black history, or trying to limit how we talk about gender identity and sexual orientation. All of these things convolutes the education system where children and youth period, they are seeing this outside of the classroom. And so when they're coming into the classroom, they are seeing this disconnect that's happening between teachers and what's happening within our government. But even let's take this step further. Children are not learning like we were learning back in the 90s. The approach and how we're teaching children doesn't need to change, yes. but it needs to change together, and getting all the stakeholders together to figure out how do we change our system with the children in mind, with the parents in mind, with the community in mind, and that is creating community schools.
Yeah, completely agree. I mean, I also think, you could probably agree that we do need to pay our teachers a lot more than we do.
Well, as a former teacher, I would say that not only do we not pay our teachers enough, but it's even the support staff within the classroom. Because when I was in the classroom, you would think that you as an educator are the only one that helped that school go around, but the custodian is just as important as the teacher. The secretary in that front desk is just as important as the band teacher. So we have to make sure we're taking all of that into account.
All right, thank you.
Okay, only follow-up I have on that, because you covered a couple of things I was going to ask you on my end.
Yeah.
Is, this whole thing where, most of the Republicans promoting this whole ridiculous critical race theory, which it's a misnomer. It's wrong, because I remember getting 18 Fs every time I wrote a report, because my family told me what happened to our family in Oklahoma, right in Greenwood, 1921, Black Wall Street. They dropped bombs.
Right.
And they tried it like it didn't happen. And people don't know their history. My aunt lives in Philadelphia, a block away from when 1985 the police dropped a bomb on black people.
Yeah.
So the thing is, removing real history, not teaching it. Do you think that's appropriate? Is there anything that we can do? Is there anything as private citizens, what's the best recourse? Because it's not about harping over and having people feel bad, but it's about, if you know what happens, you won't repeat it.
Yeah. So I'll use this prime example. When the Jewish community found out that the Nazis were trying to indoctrinate their children,
Right.
the Jews took their children out of the school and began teaching the children themselves.
Okay.
We have to get to a place to where, even if we don't take them out of the public school system, we have to create a space to teach our children history.
Yeah.
We have to create that space, whether it's in our churches, we have to create that space within our community centers, to where we can teach our children to appreciate their history. Do you know when I was in Israel last week? We went up into the city of David, and we went upstairs to go take a bird's eye view of the city of David. And you know what I saw? I saw a group of Jewish children being taught their history, and they were from America. And these kids were in middle school learning about their history. And
That's
so I think
incredible.
we have to
it
do
is.
the same
Absolutely.
thing, and we have to make sure our children know their history, their heritage, where they've come from. So even if the school system don't want to teach it, fine, we'll teach it ourselves.
Absolutely. Now, see, me being a chef, this is how I think. If I had my way, if I became president of the United States, Uncle Marv, what I would do, I would tell everybody for a whole 6 months, you can only eat the food from the country you came from. Now, some people going to be good because everybody love, Italian food. Yeah. Everybody, but some countries got some food that they be like, I don't want fish and chips. So I'm just saying, to me, food and music brings everybody together.
Yeah.
That's why we love hip hop.
Yeah.
Now, we got one more thing, Marty. One last question. You got like 2 minutes. Come on, brother.
Real quick, in 2016, Senator, you suffered an accident at the gym that almost left you paralyzed. Has that experience humbled you in any way or changed your outlook on life? And what advice would you give people going through a similar situation?
Yeah, not only did it humble me, but it also made me more compassionate to people who are going through their struggle, whether physically, whether spiritually, emotionally. What I learned from that is that it's a process. It takes time, and to support. Stay in contact and communication with your support system. Yeah.
Okay. And one last quick question, right? Have you met any of the presidents? And if you have, did you meet my favorite one? You know, my Obama.
I've met President Obama.
Oh,
I sat on his college task force, college promise task force, and of course I met President Biden because I sit currently on his presidential advisory board on HBCU.
So how were they? Is he as cool as
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
They
That's what I thought.
Hey, listen, they can say whatever they want to say about Biden, but Biden is a cool dude.
That's my dream, Uncle Marv's dream. I always see him playing basketball, and Uncle Marv got a nasty crossover, and I really want to play the big old. He's taller than me. He can try to get some blocks if he wants. But I think I can take Obama. I think I can. When you see him, tell him he can invite me for a game, half court.
We can switch up some beef.
All right.
Bacon.
Thank you. That's right. He can play for it. That's right. Look, it's a pleasure to have you. Thanks for blessing our little station with your presence, sir. And I hope you come back sometime. Feel free to come back anytime.
Yes.